So I currently have both of these security systems installed in my house. And why do I do that? I don't need that much security, but I wanted to be able to show you how they both operate and make a comparison of the two. So this is the Ring security system and the Eufy security system. And so let's take a look at these. So if you start searching for a DIY home security kit, what you're going to notice is that Eufy has one basic kit that doesn't have cameras, and then they have a lot of systems with cameras. So this is the 5-piece kit without a camera, but you can certainly add cameras to your system. And this is the Ring system without a camera also, but Ring will offer a whole lot of different options and sizes in terms of what you can buy as a together kit. A one purchase, I need this many items. And then they also offer the different packages that you can add. So up front, the buying experience, the prices are not that drastically different. Now you can compare, and it depends on what kind of system you're going to build. But to get a basic system, they're both going to be in the same ballpark. Now the keypad is the face of any security system, and so that's why I have the two keypads here. I don't have all the devices, but I have the keypads, and they're pretty similar. In terms of how they look, and nothing fancy. They're both push button, they're not digital. They do have some lights. Both can light up and have sensors in terms of if you're coming near, they can detect you and light up so that you can see them in the dark and whatnot. They're very similar in terms of punching in your code, setting your alarm, turning it off. So no big difference here. And just in terms of what they look like, either setting on a little table or hanging on the wall, which is my preference by the door, they're going to be pretty much the same. So, do you like the way one looks better than the other? Well, you could, but not a big difference. So as I've said for a while, I would really like to have a digital face keypad for an alarm system, and I may mention that later, but neither of these are going to bring that option to the table. Installation for both is pretty much the same. With both of these, you can charge this keypad to keep it on the wall unplugged and then charge it up when you need to. It doesn't happen very often. So they both have a base, and with the base is the reception signal for the whole system. And with the Eufy base, you plug that into your Ethernet connection. With Ring, it is a Wi-Fi connection that it is receiving. I had to go look because I couldn't remember, but you can plug the Ring in with an Ethernet cable, so it doesn't have to be on Wi-Fi. Both systems then set up with sensors, both window and door sensors, and then motion sensors. That's the basic package. So that is essentially what you get. And then you can add on and build out from there. But we're trying to compare the two systems for the base to start with, and at the end I'll talk a little bit more about what you can build out from there. But with the base, you get sensors, and you can decide how many of these do I need. So you're going to ask, do I want a sensor on every window that's accessible? And obviously you're going to want one on every door, I believe. And then a motion sensor. So some people are going to choose a motion sensor to cover an area and not put a sensor on every window to open. Me, I like to have both, because at night I can't turn my motion sensor on because people are going to be up and down in the house. So I like to have all the windows armed, and then to have the motion sensors also for when we're away from home. So that's just how I like it. So both systems will do that. The motion sensor, as you'll see for the Eufy, is a little bit smaller than the motion sensor for Ring, but again, not a big deal. These are not going to be very visible, so where you're going to put them is pretty out of the way. The size of the contact sensor is a big deal to me, and I would like to see both of these be smaller. So the Ring system takes a button battery that you can replace. Both come with batteries, so they have a battery with them. But the Ring system, you can replace the button batteries in them. And so their sensors are a little bit smaller in a different shape than those of the Eufy. The Eufy comes with a round a cylinder battery that you're going to put in there. And then you can also replace those when you need to. I think both are supposed to last about 2 years. So not a big deal, in my opinion, in terms of replacing the batteries. But the size, I would like all my sensors to be smaller and less visibly noticeable. Now, out of the box, the Ring alarm comes with a base station that when it alarms, it is very loud. So the Ring alarm, when it goes off, you're going to notice it. anywhere in your house unless you live in a huge mansion. The Eufy system, its alarm is not that loud. In fact, I had set it off when I was installing it and I didn't even notice. So the Eufy system, if you're really going to be an alarm-based person, then you're going to want to add a siren to the system. So that's going to be an extra purchase to add. And then I imagine you'll get to the alarm, the volume that you need. So both the systems are going to install with the app on your phone, and they're going to connect pretty easy. Installing is not going to be a big deal. If you know how to use a smartphone halfway, you'll be able to do the installing by yourself. Most of the things that install with both are just going to be stick-on things, so whether you're putting on window sensors. Now you may have to put a couple of small screws in the wall if you're going to hang your keypad on the wall, but you don't have to. And honestly, you could buy some good two-sided tape and put those up, and it's not going to be a big deal. So it'd be wrong of me not to mention this. This is one of my favorite features, is the silent exit, that with the alarm on, you can open the door. And as far as I can tell, only Ring does this. So using the app, to me, is the main reason I wanted a DIY security system, to be able to monitor it myself. And so I do want an alarm to go off, but I want to be able to take care of my home, whether I'm home in my room in bed or away, to know what's going on. And so to get notifications on my phone when a door opens, a window opens, if the alarm's going off or whatnot. So both of these systems are going to do that. They install, the app will tell you, give you notifications, and you can you can arm the system, you can disarm it when you're not home, and all that's going to go fine. What they are a little bit different then is in the monitoring that you might get with the maker, the manufacturer. So either will work on your phone as an app without professional monitoring. So that was one reason I like these two systems, is you can choose to use either of these without paying a subscription fee. Now, Ring is a little bit more geared toward professional monitoring, and they encourage you to do that. And if you're going to use Ring cameras, you're going to have to pay a fee to have any history there to use them to their full extent. Eufy, if you add cameras to a Eufy system, you're going to be able to get all of your stuff locally. You're going to be able to save everything locally with a Eufy camera and be able to view it yourself. So that's the advantage with the Eufy system. And monitoring, Eufy does offer monitoring, and it's about half the price of what Ring is offering as professional monitoring. So I have no idea how the monitoring works in terms of SOS calls, but I imagine both are going to work for that. If your alarm goes off, they're going to contact you and see if the police or fire department needs to be called. So that's how that's going to work. If you want to pay for it, roughly $20 a month for Ring, roughly $10 a month for Eufy to get the full coverage there. So if you want to add things to your system, then we start to change. And this is where Ring has a big advantage because they have a lot more products out there. Now, camera-wise, Eufy is really catching up. A lot of what Eufy is putting out today are cameras and their newer systems. But Ring has a whole lot more devices that connect directly with their system. And that's pretty much what you're limited to with Ring, is you have to use Ring devices or things that work with Alexa, Alexa, if you want things to work. So that's what Ring specializes in. But the options for Ring are so many, the options are so many out there that when you search, you can add so many different sensors and devices to your home through the Ring system that certainly there's an advantage there if you're interested in building that out and doing a lot of different things with your security system. At the basic level, they're pretty much the same, but as you start to go deeper and look for different things like outdoor lighting, and I have an outdoor gate sensor and things like that with Ring, and you're not going to find that with Eufy. You might be able to connect something with your smart home that works that way for Eufy, but not directly through Eufy. So both of these systems are actually about the same age. This is the second generation of the Ring alarm system, and the Eufy system, they both have been out roughly 4 or 5 years at this point, and they both could use an update. Now, what it seems that Eufy is doing is they're really going to security type cameras and systems and less away, they're moving away from this. If you've heard of Cove Security, Eufy has an agreement now and you can use Eufy cameras with Cove Security. So I wonder if they're moving toward just being more of that system. Ring, on the other hand, continues its march on its own and doesn't really work with a lot of other devices. But I imagine Ring will come out with an updated version of this at some point, and I've made a video of some things I would like to see with that when they finally do. Ultimately, making a decision between these two, I don't think you're going to make a bad decision. What is important with Eufy is, as it says on the box, free local storage. You can run a Eufy system without paying anyone a monthly fee, and that's something that I'm very interested in. On the other hand, the Ring system, I say in lots of my Ring videos, it just works. It always works well. I haven't had to reconnect things. I haven't had to do a lot of things. I've had this for a long time, and it's been very reliable for us. So I do not like to pay a subscription, and I'm currently trying to get away from doing that with anything. But with Ring, that has been part of my system to keep my cameras and their footage backed up and to be able to see a month or so in the past as to who has been at my door or in my driveway or whatnot. I don't think you're going to go wrong with either one, but my choice is probably going to be